Welcome everyone to the living room studio. I am your man in Japan, jcontra, and I'm here to show off some of the cool things that I found while traveling around not only Oita Prefecture where I reside, but also Yamaguchi Prefecture, which is home to a really cool shrine that I would recommend getting to super early to, because there's going to be a lot of cars in the way. But let's move on to some of the things that I picked up, first starting off with some GameCube games. A couple videos ago I talked about how GameCube is the place to be. Maybe that's just my middle school nostalgia speaking, but I managed to pick up Resident Evil 4. I managed to find it in some pretty good condition, and there's not a whole lot to say except for the fact that it still holds up pretty well, except for the fact that you have to shoot a zombie like 5 times in the head before you kill it, whereas first-person shooters have kind of just trained me to where you shoot it once in the head and the thing should die. But that's just me speaking crazy here. The next thing, which is much more unique and something I'd like to talk about a little bit, is Old Dama, which is this crazy GameCube game where you shoot out it's kind of this weird RTS and pinball combination, which is something I've never seen before. And what's really cool about it is that this was not exclusive to Japan, by the way. You can find this in the US, I believe. I don't know if Europe got a release. But what is cool that comes with it, besides the game itself, is a microphone that hooks up to the memory card slot on the GameCube, which is baffling to me. I didn't think you could do anything besides put the memory card in the slot, but here it is. And it's a game that I would play more, except that the only time I can really play video games anymore is in the morning, and when you're shouting like left, left, right, right, no, forward, advance, advance. I got kids that live upstairs. There's families that live around me. I can't be yelling stuff at like 6 o'clock in the morning before I go to work. But let's move on. We are going to go to another game that I found in Yamaguchi, which is Busan Wizardry Alternative. And now Wizardry Alternative struck me as a very weird name, but actually what it means is that this is actually part of the Wizardry series. This was an Atlas-produced game. The copyright says 2001, so I'm going to trust that. And this is actually a weird example of a CD PlayStation 2 game, and I know it's a CD game not only because it says it on the box, but you can tell because instead of that kind of mirror finish, it is a blue mirror finish to the bottom of the CD, and it's actually kind of fun. You can tell it had a very limited budget. They tried very hard. The 2D art on this is phenomenal, but the 3D art leaves a lot to be desired, and it looks very much like a PS1 game, which it may very well have been. But anyway, it's something that's cool to check out maybe for a couple hours. There's only one dungeon, and the whole game is just, you go through the dungeon, you go deeper into the dungeon, you get out of the dungeon, sell your crap, level up, and you go back into the dungeon. That's it. Next up, we've got something I've wanted for a very long time now. We have, finally, an arcade stick for the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast had so many cool arcade games for it, not just fighting games, but beloved shooters. And finally, I can control them properly because as much as I love the Dreamcast, I do not like the Dreamcast controller, but this arcade stick is phenomenal. Everything is so well put together, and this particular one that I was able to find does not seem to have a lot of wear on it. I don't know how much use someone got out of it. This can go upwards of 40 or 50 bucks if you're buying this in Tokyo. I managed to find it at a hard off for about $10 because I waited, and I've actually seen this around in a few places. I would say it's uncommon, verging on rare. The only problem that with some of the ones that I found before is that they had light bleach on the boxes, which is something that I keep harping on about, especially in Japan. I don't know what it's like in the States, but always make sure you keep your stuff away from fluorescent lights, from those, those light tubes that they've got up in shop. It's killing me. Something else I found in Oita Prefecture was this iBook. Now, it's in the shape and it looks a lot like a MacBook Pro from about the mid-2000s. The iBook, this is the G3. It's a successor to the clamshell-looking one. You can kind of tell it's different because it's, you know, the rectangular shape, and it does have a latch. I remember with the iBook G3 clamshell, the whole big deal was that it didn't have a latch. But this one, for some reason, does. Looks like they took that step backwards. But it's still a really cool system. It ships with both OS 10.2 and 9, and I think what's really cool about this is that it's actually, because of how resource intensive 10 can be, if you want to play games, which is the reason why I bought this, I bought this because it is really a Windows 98 alternative. A lot of the big cool games that I remember from when I was a kid, not only could you play them on PC, you could play them on this here Mac. And the battery life is still pretty good. I think I could get about 2 or 3 hours worth out of it. It does not have wireless internet. That's a card that you can buy for like $10 or so and install it. You can upgrade the RAM on this to a blazing fast 600 megabytes, which is what I did, and it plays things like The Sims, Warcraft 3, it plays No One Lives Forever. It plays a lot of cool 3D sort of late 90s games on it, which is perfect for me, and especially because I hate Windows laptops, especially from the late 90s. They all look gross, and they are not as cool as the iBooks. So watch out for that. This particular one right here, before I finish off, this was a late 2001-2002 model, so it's got a really good processor. It's one of the better G3 processors that you can find in terms of mobile computing. And then I will finish off with another computer story, which is Diablo. This is the original Diablo. This is, in fact, a North American copy of the game with a little bit of a Japanese localization to it. And so let me then expound upon PC gaming in Japan, if you will let me for a moment. So the thing about PC gaming in Japan is that up until recently, with the advent of Steam, PC gaming has been very, very niche, however you choose to pronounce it. And so really PC gaming in Japan really has meant playing adult games, things that are not appropriate to speak about on YouTube. And so it's very hard to find big box PC games in Japan, though they do exist. Here is proof. And the reason this is a North American copy of the game is because Blizzard just didn't see fit. This was, I think, like 1996. PC gaming in Japan was not super hot, but here we got this CD. And so what a Japanese company did was it took North American copies of the game. You can see this is the English manual. We got the English disc. Oh, hold on, hold on. I'll talk about that in a second. We even have a little a promotional insert talking about StarCraft. They've got Warcraft Adventures, Lord of the Clans advertisement on the back. This is all in English. Yeah, here you can even look in there. There's no Japanese in this at all, except for this Japanese manual. And there's some, like, I'm guessing this is some proprietary art that the localizers came up with. And then they've got, it's just text on text on text of the manual. So there's no pictures at all in this manual. And so the game itself is all in English. But because of the time at this release, I guess Blizzard just didn't see it worthy of making a full Japanese release. Although this does, and I'm assuming this is unique to the Japanese release, is this poster that I actually did not realize. It's all in Japanese. It's even got it explains how you can connect to Battle.net. I didn't even open up this before, but that's cool. It's even got the registration card. I wonder what would happen if I sent this into Blizzard, but it even has the English registration card, which is really, oh man, and it's also got the internet for everyone, the AT&T. I'm not connecting to AT&T in Japan. This isn't happening, but they included it anyways. And so I'm guessing what happened was back in 96, 97, just this Japanese company called, I want to make sure I get it correct, Source Next, fine localizers, sort of American computer games. They just took this, and I don't think they did this with StarCraft. This is the first game of theirs I've ever picked up. I remember seeing at another hard-off they had a copy of StarCraft, the North American version of StarCraft, which actually did get a complete Japanese localization, which is actually pretty expensive. I think it goes for about $100 plus. But this copy here of Diablo It cost me about $15, and it's something that's super cool. And if I could figure out how to make a Windows 95 or a Windows 98 machine, because unfortunately this did not have a Mac version, so I cannot play it on my beautiful new iBook. But if I ever do make a Windows 98 machine, this is one of the games I really want to play. So that's it. That's all of my pickups from Yamaguchi and Oita Prefecture for the last month. Please let me know if there's anything, any system you would like me to concentrate on, anything maybe that I might have in my collection you'd like me to show off, anything that's unique to Japan that you would like to see. Let me know in the comments below or send me a message through YouTube somehow. But that's all for me. I've been jcontra. Thanks for watching my video. See you next time, and mahalo.